You can still love someone and show your love without having to have sex.
You can be in an awesome relationship and not have to worry about sex at all, because I am in one now, and I love it without sex. It's just as good, I think.
If the person's going to love you, they're going to love you like either way, whether you have sex with them or not.
Good afternoon. We're here today to talk about abstinence. Abstinence is...
No sex.
No drugs.
No alcohol.
No rock and roll.
No fun.
Nah.
Abstinence can still be making out.
Abstinence can also mean not having a partner at all or any sexual contact at all.
Even if you have had sex before, it doesn't mean you can't choose to be abstinent now.
Just because you abstain from sex doesn't mean you have to have a dead social life. It doesn't mean you're sitting at home doing nothing. It's just, you know, that's all it means is you're not having sex.
Being abstinent doesn't mean that you have to have no contact with your partner. You can still hug and kiss. That's fine. Just not to actually go all the way and have sex.
Everybody's doing it. The media gives up the image that everybody's doing that. How true is that? I mean, is that true? Is that what's going on?
I'll tell you this. 90% of the guys say they're having sex are not. They say, okay, yeah, I got this girl, but she lives in Canada. She's not from around here. She lives in a different state or something. Yeah, but I got her once, you know.
Yeah, people are doing it, but not everyone's doing it. There's a lot of people, my personal friends I know, that are dead set about not having sex, you know, with their boyfriends or anything. And so that's good. I mean, in this day and age, you don't know what you can catch from just having sex so freely.
Might catch a baby.
Exactly.
One of the reasons that I've decided on abstinence for my personal life is because of my religious upbringing. My parents have always taught me, you know, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. And I've always been a kid who wanted to do the right thing, you know, and I feel that it's definitely the right thing.
The way I was raised was, it was always believed you wait till you're married and wait till you're ready, and that's the way I really do feel. I grew up on that, and I really believe that.
Sometimes it takes sex for a person to realize that that's not what they want to do, you know?
To me, it used to be sex was fun, but now I look at it, I look back, and I say to myself, it was really dumb. I mean, it really, sometimes it was one-nighters or something like that. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, you know?
I decided to not have sex anymore. No matter whether I got in a relationship or what. It was just too hard on me. I realized who I was and how I was, and I realized that I couldn't handle a relationship like that.
Oftentimes young people don't realize that they can choose to be abstinent even if they've already had sex once, or if they're not a virgin, you can always choose to be abstinent.
Sex, it's a big deal, so it's not something I want to worry about right now. My priorities are trying to get into a good college and like getting grades and just having a good time.
Right now, I'm not into having a really deep relationship. I just like to have fun with my friends, like to shoot some pool, you know, go play basketball with my buddies and stuff like that.
During my freshman and sophomore year when I was sexually active, I gave up on getting involved in school activities as much as I usually had been. I also gave up on a lot of my friendships. I just got my report card. I got 3.5. I'm really proud of that. I was able to focus more on grades and things that mattered and what I want to pursue, which is I want to become an elementary school teacher eventually.
It's just all sex. I mean, you know, you can't watch a movie without there being several 100,000 sex scenes in it.
I turn on my radio and it's like, I want to sex you up, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Sex is everywhere. When you see a commercial for close-up, you see, you know, if you brush your teeth with this, you'll get this girl, you'll get this guy. You know, if you drink this beer, you have all these women surrounded you in little tiny bikinis, you know.
Or, you know, all the main characters or all the stars, they never actually have the consequences.
Movies like this and music like this, it makes so many emotions in your head. If you're doing the right thing or if you're not doing the right thing. And I think that's why most teenagers get caught up on doing the wrong thing, because they get so confused, they just think that there's nobody if they don't.
Oh,
Yeah, dude, you going? Oh, I don't know. I gotta see what Angel's doing, you know, because we made plans for tonight, so.
You guys been going to the lake a lot.
Yeah.
You getting a little action?
Yeah, what's up with that lake action, man?
What do you mean?
What do I mean? I don't know. Woo-hoo.
Sex. That's what we mean.
Yeah, man.
Nah, man. Me and Angel go up to the lake to talk.
Talk? You guys never had sex?
No.
Oh, come on, man.
Man, you don't want to know what it feels like or something?
Of course I do, man. But I mean, that's no reason just to go out and have sex, just because I know what it feels like.
Hey, man, check it out, dude. Everybody's doing it on the whole basketball team, man. It's no big
not
deal.
Everybody, all right? I'm me. And besides, I don't think everybody on the whole basketball team is doing it.
You don't want the guys to think you're not a man or anything.
Man, there's plenty of man standing right here in front of you, all right? I think that there's a definite pressure from one guy to another guy, or a group of guys to a guy, to have had sex before he gets out of high school. You know, you're not with it because you haven't had sex. Like, there must be something wrong with you.
See, I had to do it kind of for reputation in school, or with my friends I hung around with and partied with. So I guess I'd have sex to show them that I was like them, and I would do it just to do it.
For boys, the biggest myth is having sex means that you're a man, means that you're in an adult relationship. Another myth for boys is that somehow sexual activity is going to give them a new standing with their peers, with their friends. And that's the myth of the big man on campus.
When I lost my virginity, I was pressured into it. I didn't even know what was going on. Like I said, I was so naive. But after that, it may have been an insecurity of my own that I felt, well, he knows that I had sex with that guy. He's going to expect it from me.
If you have a boyfriend and he wants to have sex with you and you really care about him, but you don't want to have sex with him, and you don't want to lose him, you have to think, I mean, what do you want more? Do you want to have sex or do you want to lose a boyfriend?
A lot of pressure that boys put on girls in relationships to have sex is, in part, they say they're going to leave them or that they're not going to be involved with them anymore. That's a very real threat to girls.
Like, girl has to deal with, maybe the guy might go around locker room, say, hey, I did this with her, blah, 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 and then it spreads like wildfire, and it ends up back to her, and then she gets that reputation.
How'd it go with Jenny last night, man?
Beach.
Oh, man, this is awesome, buddy. Korean style, we gotta throw you a party. I know it's got Jenny before, man. This is crazy. We're not worthy.
Did you guys hear what happened between Jenny and Ron last night?
I heard she went all the way with me. I can't believe she did that.
Oh my gosh, you see the way the guys are looking at her now?
She's gonna get a bad reputation for herself.
All I know is you better hang on to your boyfriend because everybody's going to be going after her now.
When I decided to become abstinent and I stuck to that decision, people seemed to respect me a lot. In October, I found out that I made homecoming court, and that blew me away. It just showed how much that when you change and learn to respect yourself, others will respect you too. My mom and I have been pretty honest with each other, especially since I decided to abstain. Our relationship has become better. It's become more open and more honest. It's not like we're trying to hide something. I like having a relationship with my mom that I can talk to her about things.
If you back down and you change yourself for somebody else or for just society, then you're taking a part of yourself away. But when you stand up for what you believe in, and this is me and this is all I can be. That's what my parents have always told me. That's why if my friends pressure me into something, I'm not afraid to tell them, look, no, I don't want to do that because this is me. This is just how I am.
If they respect that you don't want to have sex, then you know that that person really does care about you and they want to be with you for you, not because they're just after one thing.
And basically, if you're with someone who's only with you for sex, you're probably better off without that person anyway. And you may want to reconsider why you're with that person and what that person really means to you and in the long scope of things.
We're gonna start off with a role play.
The guy's pressuring the girl to have sex.
I don't know. I don't want to take a risk like that.
I mean, it's me. No, I want to marry you and everything later. No,
That's different. This is now, and I just don't feel like...
If you love me, you do this.
No, Ron.
There are a couple of different assertiveness techniques that one can use. One of them is just saying no and repeating that and having that just be that's flat out your answer, because once you give an excuse, there's always a little room for someone to pry in and make another counter excuse.
The second assertiveness technique is turning the tables. That involves two different methods. The first is to tell the person how the pressure is making you feel. And the second is to ask the person why they keep pressuring you like that.
Nice party, huh?
Yeah, it's okay.
Listen, Farrah, I'm happy that we got this time to be alone together down here because there's something I want to talk to you about. This whole relationship, I think that, we can really last. But I just think that, it's come time where we should make love.
Look, Sonny, I told you, I'm not ready to have sex with anybody right now. It's just...
But, look, it wouldn't be sex, it's making love. I mean, you love me, don't you?
I do. Hey, why are you pressuring me like this? You know that that's not what I want right now, and you're making me feel really uncomfortable. And you're making it seem like that's all you want right now, and it's making me feel really bad that that's the only thing that's important to you right now. Why are you doing that?
The third is to just walk away from the situation. And we always present that one as the last resort, when the first two have failed and you just want to get yourself out of the situation and remove yourself from the other person that's pressuring you.
Hey, come on, like we have the chance right now. Nobody's here. We have the house to ourselves now.
Marco, I told you, I really don't think it's right now.
But you love me, don't you?
I do, but that's not the way I choose to express it, so maybe I should let you cool down. I'll talk to you later.
I think it's really important to explain why you don't want to have sex, like with your partner or something, to them. You have to explain to them. I'm not saying make excuses, but it's really important to explain to them how you feel and your feelings, and that you have a reason behind what you're saying.
I've been dating a guy for 8 months, and before I started dating him, we were friends, and I knew that he was sexually active with his past girlfriends, and that made it hard for me, because I didn't know whether he was going to understand that I didn't want to do that. But what I did was talk about it, and I was straight out what my limits were, and I was like, well, this is what I like and this is what I don't like.
You have to have some sympathy. You have to realize, where they're coming from. But yet, make them realize that you do feel for them, and that it's not just like, get your filthy paws off my silky drawers, that whole kind of thing.
So you got to really be careful the way you say no and how you say it. You can't just say no, get away, don't touch me there, stuff like that, because it makes them feel self-conscious. They'll say, what's wrong with me? Is something wrong with me? So it can go through a long time thinking something's wrong with them, let alone just when it's really just that's the way the person feels not to have sex.
Hey, if you don't want to do it, someone else will.
Then I think you're gonna have to find someone else.
Trust me, come on, who will know?
I'll know, and I know I'm not ready yet. Don't you want to see what it's like?
Well, that's a pretty poor excuse, just to see what it's like.
All your friends are doing it, you're just not with it.
Look, what my friends do is their business. I make my own decisions.
What's the matter with you? Don't you think I'm sexy?
Well, I don't have to have sex just because I think someone looks sexy.
Well, you're not a kid anymore, so make your decision.
You're right, I'm not a kid, and I've made my decision, and it's to wait.
Come on, we've had sex before. What's the big deal?
I have a right to change my mind.
Look, I promise I'll respect you afterwards.
Why don't you start by respecting me now?
If you really loved me, you'd have sex with me.
You don't have to have sex to prove that you're in love.
I used to party a lot and go to parties on the weekends and get drunk and just do whatever and not remember what happened the next day.
People that are drunk sometimes tend to be really violent, and it's like they want to get what they want. And this one guy was picking up on my friend really bad, and it was like he tried to force her to have sex, and it was like she was so lucky that someone walked in the room that was sober.
It can be like a bad situation when you're high and you don't really know what you're saying or what you're doing, and and someone's like, oh, let's just go and get away from all this, and you can't
control yourself. Like, you know what you're doing, but you can't control what you're doing all the time.
I think the best thing to do is be honest. Don't make excuses. Don't say, I don't like the people that are just, look, I like you guys are my homies, it's cool, but I'm not going to that party because I'm just not into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Where you going? Parents are out of town. Got me a date. Who? You know Gina from the cheerleading squad? Oh, yeah, you told me about her. She's hot. Yeah, you thinking about having sex tonight? Maybe if I get lucky. Well, you better watch out for pregnancy now. Yeah, pregnancy. Yeah, pregnancy. Yeah, pregnancy. Well, it's my first time. It's her first time. Oh, you got it. Can't get pregnant.
Some common pregnancy myths that I've heard are that they can't get pregnant if this is the first time that they've had sex. And in reality, a girl can get pregnant the first time she has sex if she happens to be ovulating at that time or around that time that she had sex. Another myth is that if you douche, that you can get rid of a pregnancy, and that doesn't work.
When you get into a sexually active relationship, you don't always use protection. And I was very, very lucky and very blessed not to get pregnant, but at times I did have pregnancy scares.
The baby, to me, is one of the most important things in the world, because you're bringing a whole new person into this world that is going to have to deal with the problems that we have in society today. Me, as a 17-year-old, I'm not ready to be a father.
So we're going to talk about STDs. So what is an STD? What does that stand for? Sexually transmitted disease. Right, exactly. So that basically means a disease that you would give to another person or you get from another person, you get it sexually, right?
Okay, I'm just going to pass out these cards. You just look at the cards. Some of them have little stars on them. Get up and exchange your cards with other people. All right, what I want everybody to do is everybody that has a star, stand up for me. Okay. For the purposes of this game only, you guys got infected with an STD. You can't give it back. Okay, let me ask somebody that had a star card and gave that star card to somebody else. So how do you feel?
I guess I feel bad for the person. I made a stupid decision and then I had to pay for it.
Our program is called Teen Advocates through the Health Center. And today we're going to give you guys an AIDS presentation.
What HIV is that breakdown of the immune system. It gets rid of your protection against all different viruses.
And HIV is a virus, HIV is the virus that causes AIDS.
Even if you only do it once, there's not a 100% chance that you'll get AIDS. But if you do get AIDS, there's a 100% chance that you'll die.
As for guys, there is no girl, all right, that you can have sex with that's worth dying for. I'll tell you that right now. All right. And as for girls, there's no guy worth dying for.
We talk about condoms and we talk about non-oxyl 9 and all these ways to prevent it. But the point is, abstinence is the only 100% way.
Todd just told me that, it was cool between us for, we're seeing somebody else. I gave myself to him, and it didn't mean anything. I feel so used. Wow. I figured once you guys had sex, you'd always be together, right? Yeah, so did I.
Guys seem to be more callous about sex. Girls seem to take it more personally.
The most devastating effect that sex can have on a relationship is that it increases the complex emotions that both girls and boys feel. They don't know how to deal with it. It confuses them, and it really makes their whole lives complicated as a result.
The funny thing about sex is nothing can bring two people closer together or tear each other farther apart. And usually what happens when you're younger tears you apart.
If it's a bad relationship, you'll stay with the relationship just because you've had sex, even though it's for the better to, part from each other.
I was hurt a few times because sometimes you might get attached to someone and then they turn around and they do the same thing with someone else that you know even.
I think for both young men and young women, there can be negative emotional impact from being sexually involved at a young age or before they're ready emotionally. I think both equally can get hurt in a relationship if they feel like they're giving part of themselves that's very important, and it's not taken very seriously, or it's not respected in the way that they wish that it would have been.
Abstinence is a very beautiful thing in a relationship.
It kind of like makes your relationship stronger, and it kind of tells you where you stand in it.
It helps to mature the relationship and to make it last longer.
I think a lot of times there's like a lot of stereotypes, well, that guys, if they don't get it, that they're not going to stay with you and stuff like that. But that's not really true. There are guys out there who are, you know, who are willing to respect a girl.
Me and my boyfriend have gotten close in the past 8 months, and I consider him my best friend. I know that he respects the fact that abstinence is what I chose. He doesn't question it or anything.
Now I'm dating Darren, and he and I both made the decision to abstain, and so it's really worked out really well. It's kind of neat having someone else there that understands and respects your wishes and wants the same thing for himself. He's my best friend, and that's a neat part about our relationship.
I trust and respect Melody very much, and if we're ever doing something she feels uncomfortable, I don't hesitate to get out of the situation and say, that's fine with me. We know when to draw the line, and I don't want to push her to do anything she doesn't want to do. Well, there's a lot of things you can do, because people think if you're intimate, you have to be having sex, but that's not true at all. I mean, we kiss and stuff, and you can have a nice dinner together, holding hands. I like going to the beach and just cuddling on the beach, just holding each other on the beach, watching the sunset or something like that. I mean, you can do a lot of things that don't necessarily, you don't have to have sex to be intimate.
I think the biggest payoff to being abstinent is having self-respect and being respected in a relationship. And if you've chosen to be abstinent and your partner respects that, then you have a good feeling about yourself and who you are and the choices you make.